Hey guys, it's Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful projects from start to finish with easy to follow guides. I'm just going to do some poking around and make sure I am everywhere I was supposed to be. I had like a super weird startup process for some reason today. Of course, my software needed to be updated like right before I went live, and nothing seemed to want to work properly. But it looks like we are okay. Apparently, I am my co-host also, so I'm not really sure what that means. But here we are in the month of December, and if anybody saw my super short video earlier today, as many of you, I was racing around frantically a little bit this morning. So I thought, let's take some quiet time and let's do some crafting. So last week, my live was all about talking a little bit about the new promotion from Stampin' Up that's called Product of the Month. So I still have like our little brochure here. Actually, I still have my little graphics here I think I can put up. There we go. So the Product of the Month is like an add-on that when your cart reaches a certain amount, you will be prompted to add it to your cart if you would like. For $5 in Canada is our fee, the price. And so as soon as you reach the threshold, which is $100, you'll be prompted to add it to your cart if you would like. So the first product of the month is right here. So for the month of December 2025, it is a paper pack. It's a 12 by 12 pack of Designer Series paper, and it's called True Blue Florals. And so it's like the normal size pack of paper, and they're all 12 by 12. I'm going to add my desk in here in a second, and I'll show you the papers. They're all double-sided. I currently only have one sheet of each left because, of course, I've been creating with it. So I also explained last week that if you purchase $100 from my Stampin' Up website this month, you will automatically get from me, on top of like a workshop guide, because you always get that. So a workshop guide for every $60 you spend before taxes and shipping and turning in any rewards. But if your order is $100, you'll also get a tutorial bundle. So I have grouped together with 11 others, so a total of 12 demonstrators from around the world. And there'll be a tutorial bundle. So everybody has one project, one idea, and then you'll get the tutorial for how to create those projects with the product of the month. Even if, for example, you decide you don't want to put the product in the month in your cart, that's okay. As long as the order reaches that threshold, you'll still get the tutorials, and you could swap it out and use other products. Eventually, I will show you my project that is part of the tutorial bundle. I think I'll do that next week, early in the week. But so last week, I created these two cards, and they were inspired by the corporate artwork for the product of the month. And of course, oh, let me move that out of there. There. They were inspired by the corporate artwork, but of course I had to change things up a little and make them my own. Okay, but today we're going to make a single page scrapbooking layout. I'm going to add my desk in here. I'm going to show you the paper because I still, like I said, well, we still have one sheet of each. I'll quickly show you those at the beginning. And then I'll show you the inspiration of what we're going to create. But like I said, we're going to create a scrapbooking page. Okay. My keyboard's going to just stay there for 1 second. So, like I said, this is the little flyer for the product of the month. If you guys have any questions about it, feel free to ask. I will try and answer the best I can. I think we're going to have a little bit of a blue hue on the screen today. from all of the blue, because the paper, like I said, is called True Blue Florals. So here's a closer look at the cards. Like I said, I made some changes, did some fun things there, but I'll just quickly show you the papers. So you get 2 of each of these papers. So I'll show you the fronts and the backs just really quickly together. So there's piece of paper number 1, number 2. I actually think this is my favorite, this dark color. So there's the front and the back, and the front and the back. So that's the balmy blue, and then there's like the night of navy with balmy blue on the back side. And then there's like a pinstripe, and oops, on the back side of this one there's this balmy blue leaves, and then this is the floral, a balmy blue piece with large floral images, and then on the back is this really pretty pattern, and then here is a dark night of navy version of it, and on the back side is this balmy blue with the white florals. Okay, and I see I'm just going to add my do not disturb because I see messages flashing across my screen. So there we go. That'll be a little quieter. Okay, so I think it was last week. Oh my goodness, everything's super crooked. One moment, please. There we go. That's better. Okay, so last week, Sarah Douglas, who's the CEO of Stampin Up, did a Facebook Live. And so she came on and she created these cute cards. They're super simple, but it was to kind of demonstrate that you could use the designer series paper to create a lot of cards very quickly. So she cut pieces that were 2 by 2 and 1 by 1 and kind of made this fun little geographical pattern. And they're on crumb cake. And I thought, well, why don't we use this as our starting point for our scrapbook layout this week? So that's what we've done, or I have done. And we are just going to, of course, make some changes, and it's going to be a scrapbook layout, so it's going to look different, obviously, than the cards. So, but we're going to start with, I'm going to stand up, of course. So I have a piece of, let's turn on some more light so maybe we could get the colors a little more true. Okay, so I have one piece of crumb cake. I'm actually going to zoom out just a little bit. My paper towel up here for our technique, but okay, so I have one piece of this is the 2-tone cardstock and crumb cake. That's 12 by 12, and then this piece I cut to 10 by 10. Okay, so we're going to first, not with those. We're going to just distress the edge. Now, I actually don't think she used 2-tone cardstock. I think it was just regular cardstock. So we're going to get a little bit of a different look, and then we're going to do something to our background completely different too. So we're exposing like the white core, and I'm actually just using the edge of my scissors so you don't dull your blades, and it's enough to rough up the edges and expose that white core. So hopefully, even if you're out racing around at the moment, you will have some time to watch the replay later. I was actually thinking about not doing a live this week, and then I thought, no. People need something fun to watch with a little cup of coffee or a glass of wine after when they get to rest a little bit. So who else has had some fun with the product of the month this month? I actually love the fact that they started it out with a paper pack. because I think you kind of can see the versatility of the product. Okay, so I've just roughed up the edges a little bit. We might do a little bit more distressing, but we're going to, so you see I have like a border all the way around, but I actually wanted to make some more distinction between the background and our 10 by 10 piece of paper. So we're going to do some stamping. So I pulled out a stamp set, just looking for the box. So it's the stripes and dots. And so these you could use obviously on cards or scrapbooking layouts. And I thought we could just add some dots to the border around the edge. So I'm going to stamp off the edge and then I will clean my surface after. And I'm just using, I actually meant to use crumb cake, but apparently I grabbed pecan pie by accident. So we're going with pecan pie. And I'm just going to stamp a border all the way around the outside. Super funny. So it'll be just a little bit darker than I envisioned, but that's okay. And I actually think that the stamp is wide enough that I could have just stamped straight up like this all the way around. But I just feel like I have a little bit more control doing it this way. I'm like, oh, why does that look so dark? That's why. They will dry back too, so they will be a little bit lighter. Okay, maybe we will test the going around the edge part. There we go. I have to wipe the ink off of my hands. And the surface here. 1 second. Because now I am picking it back up on my hand. So I actually think we'll do a little bit. So I'm just going to grab a blending brush. And actually, maybe I'll blend a little bit with crumb cake. And the actual reason that I grabbed the wrong ink was because, of course, I pulled it out already. So here we go. And we need some dots right here. Well, it's not perfect, but that's okay. I think it'll get the job done for what I was envisioning. Okay, so oh, you guys almost did it again. We're going to put the crumb cake away again. I mean the pecan pie away again. Okay, there we go. So we have this piece that will go into the middle. And there we go. Okay, so that's our starting point. And then I obviously cut the squares larger because we are talking about a larger piece of real estate. So there, I have some pieces that are 4x4 and some pieces that are 3x3 and a couple that are 2x2. And we'll see what we can make happen here. So this one is the smallest and it's 2x2. And I'm just kind of randomly filling in my spaces. And I have more if I need to cut more. Okay, and then I have 2 photographs that we're going to add. So I'm not sure that this will be my configuration just yet, but actually it's not bad. Okay, so I have a 4x6 and a 4x3 photo, and I double matted them with fresh freesia and then crumb cake. So actually I'm going to start to adhere these squares down. I actually kind of like this the way it is. So I just kind of tried to make sure there's darks and lights in all the different areas. Some are going off the 10x10. You could add different layers too with like dimensionals or foam adhesive. This one, we might just pop this one up on dimensionals to get some different layers. You could also kind of distress these edges if you wanted. I feel like it kind of makes sense if you're going to pop up something for it to be the smaller ones, right? It takes less dimensionals. If I wanted to do, okay, I have to, okay, we need a different one. For down here. I have lots more paper though. So there we go. Okay, so let's get our photographs in here. And I'm going to leave this little space here for journaling. And I have some linen twine here, so I'm going to actually wrap it around my photo spot here. So I'm going to add some dimension on the back of here, and it will also help the twine stay in place. Okay, so before I push this down, we need to test our title. So I have from so far, these are just Night of Navy, and I used the Party Alpha, and I cut out the word dream. So these ones, right, they're perfect for so I think I want another lighter piece up there. I want to be able to still see some of the distressed edge there. So I'm gonna put this one kind of on an angle. So I'm not going to put my dimensional super close to the outside. So I can kind of tuck it into like that. So I actually also cut these out on a piece of white where I used fresh freesia to, I ink blended on it to make it a little bit like not stark white. And then I stamped it with the lasting linen stamp set so that they look like paper. And I was actually thinking I might cut them off part way and adhere them. But I think I'm going to actually glue down the title first, and then so I'm just going to so I can get it on kind of straight. Just put my ruler across the top. And then so my thought was let's try so this is like 1 1/4. So we'll end up with like two-toned letters. So this is that stamp set, and I just did all of the letters the same. So I think like the 1 1/4 looks good. So I'll do that on all of them. So I didn't want it to be like right in half, right? I wanted it to be like more or less of one color. So it's kind of like when I did the gold dip look, right? I did that wolf layout where I just did like the little piece of the gold across the bottom, and they looked awesome. So that was kind of where I was going with this idea. There we go. Okay, I actually think we're going to stop it at this point. I was going to add more to it, but I actually think that's a lot. But like I said, I'm going to do my journaling down here, and I do have fussy cut pieces, so I might embellish it a little bit more. Sharice is late, but she's liking it. So all I did was I took the card idea that Sarah had posted last week and kind of turned it into a layout. So I think, though, I'm going to add my journaling right here. And I might add in some of the fussy cut pieces. I'll have to play around with it a little bit to decide if I actually want more on here or to just leave it like that. I just seem to have. But I love the, like, all the textures. And then I actually quite like the fresh freesia getting brought in here too. Thanks, Tracy. It did, Cynthia. It turned out cute. So like I said, so all my pieces, because on the cards, she used 1x1 and 2x2s. But so my smallest piece is 2x2, and there's not a ton of them, right? Because you're using more geographical space, right? So I did some 2x2s, but they're mostly 3x3s and 4x4s. So and it's super easy to create a double page spread too. And if you wanted, you could leave this piece out. I added it because she did it on the cards, but it kind of gets lost when you cover the whole thing in, like the whole layout in the squares. You could very easily not put this piece in here. You could just put it on the 12x12 background and use the same kind of pattern and take out the layer. But I think it turned out cute. And there's a little bit of texture, right? So because we did the rough edge, that's why I brought in like that linen texture here, so that the letters look a little bit different. And like I said, I just did ink blending with the fresh freesia, and then I stamped the whole sheet with that linen stamp, and then cut them out so that I could play with them. So there we go. Week number 2 of product of the month. And right on cue, it has decided to start to snow outside. So it was raining earlier, which is super crazy for us here in December. But apparently we are going to have a blizzard, they're saying, overnight. So we've had some crazy weather. So yeah, you could either do like little journaling strips here or a bigger journal box there. I might still play around with it a little bit, and I'll post some photos of the finished layout. But this is a perfect kind of like foundation page, right? So you could change all of those things about it. Like that's the fun thing about playing with like something like this, because you could totally change it, do it exactly the same and switch out the paper and it would look completely different, right? But it's a great like kind of foundation page, and you get lots of different patterns in there. And then too, if you're trying to bring photographs that maybe have like a lot going on in them, you kind of could draw in the colors from the outside too. So that's what I got for you guys today. We will talk to you later, and I hope you enjoyed the second edition of Product of the Month. Talk to you later, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Just add them into the comments below, and you guys know I'll come back and address them when I get a chance. Have a great day, guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.